Ladies and gentlemen, nerds and neckbeards, welcome to a beautiful episode of
Neckbeard
Westeros.
Welcome to Everly. Dave, we are the one true podcast of the Seven Kingdoms.
Damn straight we are. You know, we were born in like the Tower of Joy, like having so much fun, and like there was blood everywhere, and you know, all of a sudden,
oh my god,
we popped out.
I like totally remember. Oh man, this episode I have.
Plus,
to say,
we never
Night
wanted
of
to
the Seven
leave,
Kingdoms.
so I mean,
we didn't. Oh, that Jenny
I
saw.
know.
There's so much to talk about. I have to start by saying this episode is the best episode the show has ever done in the history of the show, forever and ever and ever.
it was pretty damn good.
That's my hot
It was
take.
pretty damn good. I mean,
Rank it.
I mean,
right now, rank it.
see, it's hard though because I really enjoyed like the Battle of the Bastards. That episode was fucking awesome.
I mean, that's one where Jon is standing and all the
Yeah,
guys are
the
rushing at him.
cinematography. Yeah, when he stands there
yeah.
and he whips out his sword and he's just like, you know, it's me against the world, you know, and then everyone's trampling each other and you realize how sadistic and ridiculous
that
Ramsay is.
circle.
Yeah, the half circle of death. And I mean, that was a great episode. I mean, it didn't have the same amount of fanfare.
Cool shit.
Yeah, I mean, this one had a lot of fanfare.
Emotional
notes. We got to see Maisie Williams' side boob and ass. I mean,
The thing that makes this better, I was listening to Girls Gone Canon podcast, which is arguably the best, if not a contender for the best podcast in my own
I
personal
thought we were the
opinion.
best podcast. What's going on here?
Well, for you and me, it's the best.
Oh,
podcast,
okay,
but
I see.
For like other,
For, like, real
normal
people.
it's like yeah,
Gotcha.
it's like people that actually like do homework.
Oh,
and
okay,
whatever.
yeah.
But they were saying that Maisie Williams had some agency in how much she showed. That it wasn't some sort of like creepy Hollywood. You have to do X, Y, and Z to fulfill your contract. They were like, hey, as much or as little as you want.
Yeah, apparently they
So
wrote
I
the
can't- that
scene
makes
kind
it
of
feel
for her.
better.
Like, they kind of asked her and said, how much you want to show? And she was like, I'm okay with a little
Yeah.
side boob and ass crack. You know, like,
Hey,
how do
man.
how do you decide that, right? I mean, someone asks you like,
Right?
but you know, and we're going to deep dive right into this because we have to talk about this before we even get to what
Speaking
we're
of butt
drinking.
cracks.
All right. Because it's important to know what we're drinking. But before that, okay,
Oh,
must
man.
drink.
Must drink.
There we go.
I'm still working on my sound
Yeah,
effect.
we'll get it one
Go
day.
on.
Anyway, like, I think part of Maisie was like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't want to be sleazy and just like go full frontal, right? Because that's not cool. But at the same time, like, I want to show people that I'm grown now because remember, we saw her like as a child, and there's a lot of
Okay,
people
so-
online who are like, oh my god, she's a
a
girl,
ton.
you can't show this is gross. And it's like,
A ton of people lost their damn minds. This was like, for me, I was blown away because this is like the one sex scene that seemed like a woman was in charge of it. She had total agency. She was calling the shots. Like,
Yeah.
this was consensual and it fit the narrative and it did the whole like Robert Baratheon talking to Ned.
Yeah,
in the
our houses
opening
must
scene of
join.
Game of
Yep.
Thrones. Yeah, I have a son, Gendry. You have a daughter, Arya. Like, yes, he's talking about Sansa and
Joffrey.
not his
Yeah,
son.
right.
But you know, this is the fulfillment of a thing, and so the sort of backlash and the horror, the pearl
look,
clutching.
in a world where people fuck their sisters and their brothers all the fucking
And their
time
aunts.
and their aunts, like, come on now, people. This woman, she's not a girl anymore. She's a
Yeah.
fucking woman, right? She wants to get it
character's
on.
18, and the actor is 22.
And let's be honest,
So,
right?
like,
Gendry, I'm a dude, right? But come on, like, if I had a
Yeah.
body like Gendry, like, Jesus Christ.
Gendry he was looking like a snack,
You know?
man. He was
B8, please.
He was looking real good. Although here's the thing, like, he's super gross, right? Like, I have to get past all of the fact that like it's a medieval setting. This is a fantasy thing. I don't have to take it literally, but there's always a part of me that's like, he's never brushed his teeth. Like,
I mean,
there's
but how do you
always
know
part
that?
of me. But there's no toothbrushes.
What do you mean there's
in-
there's hairbrushes? Like, you don't know there's no
Well,
toothbrushes?
Gendry does not need a hairbrush.
That's true,
Also,
but-
like, boy kind of needs a shower. He's been working in those like salt mines for a while, so But suspending disbelief, that scene was very satisfying to me. I was happy to
So
see
you
it.
did a little
seemed
little
like she was
fapping.
in control of the whole thing.
You
I did not fap to it.
Stuck it in the spank bank for later.
No deposits were made in my particular spank bank. But so did this scene like you? So I wondered also if that particular sex scene was non-problematic for me because like I didn't watch season 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I didn't really.
You very much did not see her as like a child.
Yeah, exactly. And so I wonder if maybe that's a little bit.
I mean,
like
I think typically with a woman who's that hot, objectively, right? She's good looking, right? And she's
everyone in the show.
She's pretty stacked, right? So, from an objective,
I would love for our show to not objectify.
I'm not
women.
objectifying her.
Men.
I'm telling you like fact. These are facts. All right. Okay. I've got boobs too. Right. It's just
I'm putting my cursor over the word stacked to just email to you later as with a question mark. Go on.
So right, like that's who she is, right? But I didn't pop a boner, right? Like I typically would, and it's probably
we're supposed to be talking about the best episode of all of Game of Thrones. How did we get here? We haven't even gotten out of our introduction yet.
This is just how we roll. We go on tangents right from the beginning. So, but I mean, like, and probably, I mean, I'm not saying that because I saw her as I saw her as a child, but I wasn't like grossed out about it. I wasn't like, oh, I can't watch. That's disgusting. I was like, all right, like I've known her as I didn't feel like, oh man, gotta get it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have that manly urge.
Did you? Okay, I have to ask this question then. Did we have any of these same urges when Jaime was 100% telling Brienne, "I want to bottom for you, please"? I'm
not gonna lie. If we're
looking for a moment where I pop a little bit of a girl boner, I was like, oh yeah, like that's the ship I want to see.
It's like, I'll gladly fight for you under your command if you'll have me.
He's just asking to be bottom. Like he just wants to bottom for Brienne.
And then he knights her?
Brienne top the shit
my
out
god.
of him.
Okay. Let's go back.
Okay, let's start again. Okay.
We're not starting again, but here we go.
Ladies
Nerds and neckbeards, welcome to another episode of Westeros.
Westeros.
Wheneverly. Welcome back, folks, from our ridiculous intro tangent that we went on about things. And so, Tana, what are you drinking? What are we drinking tonight?
So I have decided that in honor of Tormund Giantsbane,
oh my god,
who stole the show tonight.
Every time he's on the fucking screen, he's fucking awesome. Cock?
I
Dick?
have produced my own.
I like it. Bet you do.
Oh, god damn. I have produced my own horn of goat's milk.
Giant's milk.
Giant's milk. Yes, I came with my own cup.
Yeah, see, I'm drinking out of one of those fake boobs that you like strap on to like when the male wants to nurse your child.
Buddy, I feel like we gotta. I feel like we gotta start.
Never.
Never.
It's too good. Okay, Giant's milk. It's a White Russian.
It is essentially.
It's a White Russian.
It is Kahlua and vodka. The recipe is up on the doot.
It's there's two things I'm going to think about when I drink White Russians now, and it's Giant's milk and the Big Lebowski. So I mean,
obviously, and if there's a way, I wonder if at like comic book conventions people will mash them together.
Ooh, like a Tormund dude.
Yeah.
The
dude, but it's Tormund Giantsbane in the outfit of the dude drinking a White Russian, but like drinking a White Russian out of that, oryx horn or whatever, and just like having it
Tormund Dudesbane.
Yeah, maybe Tormund Dudesbane. The Torm.
Ooh, I like that one too.
It's not there. It's not perfect. What are you drinking?
I wanted to drink a White Russian as well, but unfortunately, I had to stay late at work, and then on my way home.
Let me guess.
Yeah, it's a rum and coke. It's about all I had left in the pantry, with a little splash of blue curacao. So
yeah, without me around to inflict new alcohols or adventurous cocktail making on you, you just default to your one thing.
What I need you to do is like text me the morning, like this is what we're drinking tonight, and I will do my best to get out there and purchase the ingredients.
Yeah. I want you all in podcast land to just imagine as the podcast goes on, I'm guzzling out of my drinking horn, and all of the giant's milk is just getting all in my beard, just the whole
in your voluptuous beard, and your amazing beard, Tana.
That was like such an awkward scene where everyone is sitting around and they're just like, he's and like Jamie, the camera just stays on Jamie for a long time, and Nikolai does a great job acting the scene where he's just like, it goes past the moment where it's okay, and then he just kind of looks afraid, and then he kind of like looks to the side like, are you guys seeing this? Like, what the fuck is happening right now? Tormund steals
that scene was great too, because they played it off as if they were like fighting over Brienne, but at the same time not, because like after she gets knighted, Tormund stands up like with the fucking biggest shit-eating grin on his face, and he's just like,
and he's clapping, yeah,
amazing.
Yes, there's all that sort of that not public, but like the approval of her friends and loved ones. There's that kind of approval that she never thought she was going to get. Oh, it was so satisfying. There was moment after moment of pure satisfaction in this episode. And I mean, Jenny's song topping it all off. Are you kidding me? Oh, it just guts me. So, but we open with the trial of Jaime Lannister.
I wouldn't say it's a trial. It's okay. You're right.
He's on trial for his life.
You're fair.
He's being. This is the Queen's justice.
That's
right.
Fair enough.
Like he is. She could just.
I would have called it more of a hearing. Executed. You know, they weren't like, you know.
He doesn't say anything to defend himself. He just kind of takes.
Well, I think, you know, he's not denying anything, right? He's not trying to lie, which is important. And he's like, my sister was a bitch. She fooled me. Yeah, I killed the fucking Mad King. Yeah.
I think it was an interesting choice to not have him say, hold on, Daenerys, your father was going to murder everyone in King's Landing, so I totally was a hero and I did a good thing. Like, he doesn't say
and
any
why
of
didn't
that.
Bran speak up about it either? You know, Bran could have been like, the Mad King was crazy, you know, without Jaime, everyone would have died or something like that, you know?
Yep, but they played it off so perfectly, and I think Nikolai's acting, I think his name's Nikolai, his acting is so wonderful.
Nikolai
here.
Claude something. Claude Wojcicki.
He is.
I think he's like Polish, Jewish, probably. I don't know. Probably not Jewish at all. I just like saying that about people.
Just trying to add him to the tribe.
Yeah, I like to add people to the tribe, you know.
Especially when they're Jaime fucking Lannister.
Jaime fucking Lannister. Yeah.
He does so good. And then
do you wish he was like he had like blonde fucking hair though, like golden blonde hair? Because he did at the beginning. At the beginning of the series.
But now for some reason the Hound has blonde highlights. Whatever. I don't get it. But it is grittier and more real now, I suppose. And so Jaime is saved. He's saved by Brienne. Sansa, you know, Brienne does this big, you know, impassioned plea to spare Jaime's life, and they go along with it. And she says, you know, if not for Jaime Lannister, you, Sansa, would not be alive. He sent me on a mission to save you and bring you home, which is exactly what I did. Without that, you know, you're also dead. And so this trust of people that love Sansa or love House Stark or women that love women, which is like hashtag trademark Tana Ford. Like that is my fucking deal. And there was a lot of that here today. So they do the thing and he gets pardoned, and then everyone walks out on Dany. Yeah. What the fuck, man?
Well,
like, it is lonely at the top. Holy shit.
And I mean, we were just rewatching the episode, and I asked Lauren if she wanted to join us in this podcast. She did not. She had some work to do, but she brought up some really interesting points while we were rewatching it. Like, she said, like, this is there's a couple scenes here where they really show how Dany is like alone and doesn't have family, and she's like, like it's almost as if she's saying like, what's the point of having the Iron Throne if I don't have family? But then she like kind of recoils and is like really back into it. Like the scene with Sansa and Dany is very much
such a good
very
scene.
much like a back and forth. They're kind of testing each other a little bit to see who really loved who, why did, you know, she's testing Jon to see why he bent the knee. Did he bend the knee for love? Did he bend the knee for the North? You know,
Dany, no, not Dany. Sansa says something very interesting in that scene about how, you know, well, men are so easy to move and manipulate. He loves you, you know, and I think Dany hears that and is able to sort of, you know, she catches the arrow and throws it back, or like they're playing this back and forth game. And she says, you know, I came to Westeros to get the Iron Throne, and I could have stayed warm in the South and minded my own business, but I'm up here
who
fighting,
manipulated who,
you know. Yeah, in a hostile land. And you get this sense that Dany and all of her allies, Tyrion's doing a terrible job with her. Jorah, okay, but he's a creeper, is in Dany's camp. But, like, she's not going to rely on him the way that she would rely on, you know, a deep loved one or something. Like, there's a lot of pain and history there. And then every one of her allies is stared at in the Westerosi version of like outsider racism coded whatever they're doing in the North there. So like there is a lot of discomfort here. I'm feeling for Dany.
Yeah, well, at the beginning you definitely are, and you know, at first I was like, why is Jon being so cold to her? And then I, you know, remembered that he learned what he learned, and he's like, fuck, I'm fucking my aunt. Or
yeah, but like you could at least have a conversation with her. You're in a relationship with her. You can fucking talk to her instead of giving her the cold shoulder. Jon, I get that he's doing this whole sad savior bullshit, but like Jon has never done it for me. And I think he treated Dany like shit in this episode. And I feel like he needs to bring his best self. And he's definitely not doing that.
Well, I hope he does based on the end of this episode.
Holy shit, man. Did you see Ghosts?
Yeah,
cameo?
he
Ghost
showed up.
makes a little appearance.
Apparently HBO can only afford one direwolf or two dragons, because no dragons this episode, but we got a direwolf, all right? So
yeah, there we go. I was reading, so Twitter was aflame with really cool things. And
as it usually
is.
is.
Yeah, so aside from all the hilarity about Tormund and like the little sort of comical moments, there was the idea that Jon Snow has two identities, and one of them is Targaryen, represented by Rhaegal, represented by the dragons, and his Stark identity is represented by Ghost.
I mean, he's fire and ice, right?
Yeah, and there's
or
this
ice
whole
and fire,
thing
whatever.
about like have we ever seen a scene that has Ghost and a dragon in it at the same time?
No, that's what I'm saying. HBO can't afford that shit. It's way too expensive.
Right. But I mean, you know, it's sort of like Batman and Bruce Wayne are never in the same room.
Exactly.
So like,
you're saying, wait, are you saying that Ghost is Rhaegal? What are you saying, Tana?
God, I don't know, man. Where did we go? So there was that scene with Bran in the Godswood. So he doesn't out Jaime, but he does say that thing during Jaime's trial. And did you notice
things
the
I do
word
for
changing?
love?
No, he said the things we do for love. He changes the I to a we and makes Jaime's
words,
you know, douchey pushing a child out of a window into something that like Bran himself is owning, or is maybe talking about the royalty. The things we do for love.
Well, I think it also.
And, like,
I think that also plays to Dany's favor, right? When she talks to Sansa, because she says, "I'm here because I love your brother." You know?
Yeah, and there's you see these little, like, there's a lot of subtle stuff here. There's a lot of overt stuff, a lot of hugs, a lot of kissing, a lot of people saying goodbye. Like the emotional tenor of this was just cranked up to 11 the whole time, and I was here for it, Dave. This is my favorite
What's
episode.
kind of interesting to me is how much the North and their people are getting behind their king who saw this stuff, right? They're not like, if someone came and told you like there's fucking zombies outside, like don't leave your house, like you're gonna be like, yeah, you're a fucking crazy person, right? So it's kind of impressive how much the North is rallying, right? None of these people have seen this stuff.
David, would you say perhaps the North remembers?
I think I am saying that the North remembers, Tana. That is exactly what I'm saying. All men must drink.
Must drink.
Excellent. But yeah, it's really kind of impressive. What the other thing too is, I don't remember any other battles where everyone is like, yeah, we're totally gonna die. Yeah, we're totally gonna die. Yeah, we're totally gonna, like, every single person is like, no one at all has any flavor of we're gonna win except for Tyrion.
Tyrion says it.
And
Tyrion says, I think we can come out of
and
this.
you know, it's interesting because he only says that after he has a very long conversation about with Bran. And I think that scene was very good too.
Yeah, well, it was necessary because here's my question for you. In the next episode, does Bran Stark die? Something go terribly wrong and Bran gets killed.
I don't think so. I think Theon dies trying to protect him. I think you made that comment to me in text, and I was like, yes, redemption arc completes.
Yep. I think Theon's definitely going to die fighting for Winterfell in Winterfell, having regretted taking it.
I feel bad for Sansa then because she's got no one to love, but you know.
There were some really sweet moments, like they were
soup
eating
at the
soup
end
silently during the Jenny thing, and they had this very beautiful hug together because he saves her right in the show. He saves her.
They both lived through Ramsay, so I mean they have that connection as well. You know.
Yep. I remember, this book has been just such a big fucking deal for me. And I had never felt such contempt for a character before. Like, George made me hate this guy that doesn't exist. That's just a bunch of like words on a page.
Which guy? Reek?
But when Theon.
Yeah.
When Theon takes Winterfell and, and kills Bran and Rickon, and, on the first read through, you're like, what the fuck? Like, I wanted to kill him. And then when he brings him back as Reek, it cracked me open. Like, I did not see this coming. It had such a profound effect on me. And so the fact that his story isn't over with him as a broken individual, that there might yet be redemption. I was thinking about this. He takes Winterfell. Think about this, dude. He takes Winterfell because he thinks it's such a brave act that the singers will sing about it for 1,000 years, that they'll talk about how fancy and amazing Theon was to come and take Winterfell, and what a swashbuckling nice guy he was. And it totally turns to ashes. And then when he's Reek and he's trapped in the castle, Abel, who is Mance Rayder, his washerwomen are trying to find out from Theon, how did you take the castle? So how did you do it? And he figures out, they're like, oh, it was so brave. Somebody's going to make a song about it. Maybe Abel's going to make a song about it. Just tell us how you did it, okay? And he works out that they just want to know how to get out of the fucking castle. They want to know if
they want to escape
a secret entrance. But this idea of making a song about it repeats over and over in Theon's story. Like, he wants to be so brave, people make a song about him, to be so heroic.
So you think they're going to make a song about him defending Bran in the Godswood?
I mean, if the boy that grew up as his brother from, an enemy faction and grew up to protect, these are the elements of the heroic story. And it ties in with this whole, the world isn't a song.
I hope Pod sings it.
Theory. Ugh. Pod in that voice. Did you see that?
All right.
He can fight now?
Look, he can fight, fuck, and sing. All right. I think we're going to see Podrick on the Iron Throne. All right.
Do you remember that Pod...
Magic cock.
Pod was Tyrion's squire first.
Yes.
Pod on the Iron Throne. So it was very funny. Like, I came to that realization later in the evening when I was like, oh, fuck, right. He used to work with Tyrion first, and that's why he meets Brienne in the first place, because he thinks she's going to link him back up with Tyrion.
Well, that's not why. He's in the show, he's given to her to escape when Tyrion gets under house arrest for killing Joffrey, right? Bronn helps him get away, Speaking of Bronn, I was a little sad we didn't see Bronn this episode.
I know. Doesn't he have a contract where he's supposed to show up in every episode or something? Probably.
I don't know, but he's on his way to Winterfell, I assume, with Tyrion's father killing crossbow. So.
This fucking. Do you call it now? Does he kill?
No,
does
fuck
he kill
no.
Tyrion and Jaime, right? Like, so what
Remember,
the fuck, man?
remember what Tyrion said to him? If anyone,
double?
yeah, if anyone pays you to kill me, just remember, I'll pay you double.
Yep, and he likes that.
Yeah, right,
It's
right.
not like he likes
Yeah,
Cersei.
true. All right, so
Man.
back to this episode.
This battle next week is going to be
80
brutal.
minutes
Okay,
of battle next week.
yeah. It's
just gonna be
one-
straight
is
battle.
Do you know this? Do you know this for sure? Like, do you have insider knowledge, or are you just?
I think I think they said somewhere that it's basically going to be battle, but I mean, like,
it has to be the whole.
I mean,
time.
literally, we end
question-
with the fucking Craster's kids standing on their horses, waiting to fucking march in Winterfell.
Excuse
Yes.
me. Their proper name is the Nazgul.
Oh, my bad.
Come
Okay,
on,
yep.
obviously. Wildfire. Are we going to see wildfire in this
Ooh,
battle?
interesting. We haven't seen any in the north, so we don't know of
Right.
any. I think there was a great part in this episode where someone says, "Will Dragonfire kill him?" And then a great thing happens. Bran says, "No one's ever tried."
I don't know. No one's ever tried. The thing that makes that great is what it tells us about the history of the last 10,000
That's what I'm
years.
saying. It means that there's never been a dragon.
Yep.
Or
And if
the
you
dragons
remember-
came after the long night.
Well, yes. Do you remember? So the dragons are not doing well in the north. They're not eating
Right,
very much.
right.
They don't like it there. And in the Fire and Blood book, Queen Alysanne's dragon Quicksilver wouldn't fly over the wall. It wouldn't break that
Right.
barrier. She couldn't get the dragon to go over there.
That's the same dragon that went into the
so-
crypts of Winterfell and laid like a shitload of dragon eggs.
No, you're thinking of
Oh,
Jaehaerys. It
No,
might
it was
have been
Alysanne,
actually.
right?
Well, was Alicent's
It was
there?
It was
Well, no,
it was
because
Vagar, not Vagar. Varaxes.
It's hers is yes. So you're thinking of during the Dance of the Dragons, Jacaerys, I want to say was his name. I don't know how you say it.
One of the dragons laid
flies up
one
to
of the
the north.
dragons laid a shitload of eggs in the crypts of Winterfell.
Yeah,
All right.
one of the kids shows up and on his little blue dragon, Tessarion maybe. I don't know. Anyway, there's are we gonna ever? So what's coming out of the crypts? Okay, dude, come on. Like, how does nobody?
Crypts are safe, guys. The crypts are safe. Like, get the women and children in the crypts. Come on, let's go.
Yes, there's a
Get this-
necromancer coming that raises
get
the
this-
dead.
this fake Shireen
everybody
person
get down in the tombs.
Into the crypts. Oh, Lauren brought up a great point, a great potential for the Shireen character. She
Hit me
said,
with it.
"What if it's Melisandre in disguise?"
Oh, well, so I think Mel is showing up no matter what because, one, they brought her up in this episode. They mention her twice,
They
I
do?
think. Yeah, Arya's talking to Gendry, and Gendry's saying,
Oh, the Red
first
Woman,
time
right,
was
yeah.
Melisandre, the Red Woman bled me or whatever. And he's like, but I didn't bone her.
And she's like, "I
Because
know how to tell if
this is how
people
he
lie."
learns.
How many people have?
How many
people you sleep
How
with?
many?
you sleep
How
with?
many? How many?
He's like, "I don't know. I didn't keep count." Yes, you did.
Such a great line. But yeah, so I think Melisandre being mentioned is important because I think we're going to see her in this upcoming episode. Maybe she does
She told
something.
Arya on the road, like, "I'll see you again." Like, we know that that's going to happen.
Yeah. Why it escapes the notice of everyone that with a necromancer showing up on the front door, you should go where all the dead people are is beyond me.
Oh, no.
Here's my question for you, David.
Why did Gilly get so
let's just
fat? Sorry. I mean, she pregnant? Is she pregnant?
I mean,
In real
maybe,
life? In real life, maybe? Like, maybe not in the show, but like...
we're definitely not body shaming anyone in this
No,
podcast,
I'm not
right,
body
David?
shaming. I just noticed it, and I was like...
Good
I
Lord.
noticed the difference. It's been like 2 years. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Here's-
I put on 20 pounds in like 3 months. So, like, it's completely possible that in 2 years, she put on some weight.
Oh my goodness, maybe she's got another little Sam.
I
in
was
there.
thinking
We'll see.
that potentially, but
I mean, what was I going to say? In the crypts of Winterfell, the oldest part of the crypts, as you obviously
Yes,
remember,
obviously.
is the furthest
Yep.
down. We have an entire Winterfell episode about the physical structures of Winterfell and how the crypts are one of the oldest structures there, but they were built from the bottom up, not from the top down, excavating as you needed more space.
Why?
Who is the oldest king in that tomb?
Ooh.
Do you think?
Bran the Builder, maybe? He was a Stark, right?
Yeah. Right?
Is
there a Bran the Builder in there?
He built Winterfell, didn't he? I mean,
is there a last hero in there? Is there a
Azor Ahai
king? Yeah, like, are we gonna see I mean, in the show probably not, but like it begs all of these questions. Also, here's a question for you. In the books, Lady, the bones and body of Lady Sansa's wolf, who gets killed by Ned in the first one, gets sent to Winterfell to be interred in the Lich Yard. She's being buried in Winterfell along with all of the other people in Winterfell. So even though the kings of Winter and sometimes Lyanna and sometimes the wolves are buried in the crypts, the rest of the people in Winterfell, there's a Lich Yard. So like servants and everyone get buried there, including Lady. Do you think we're going to see an unearthed zombie Lady come at Sansa?
Maybe. I mean,
it's never
not in the
happen,
show.
but still.
HBO doesn't have that budget. They have to pay for 2 fucking dragons and a ghost. Now a fucking necromantic another wolf. Come on.
You're right. I don't know. What
Most expensive show on television. They can't get goddamn wolves.
Mm-hmm. I know. Not even dead ones. I mean, come on. Jamie, we talked a little bit about how he wants to serve under Brienne, and she is suspicious of him. And says you've never said a nice thing, but then they become buddies.
I think that's a great conversation that they have. She's like, "What the fuck are you doing? This is the longest conversation we've ever had without you insulting me. Do you want me to insult you? No. Good. Oh, did we just become best friends?"
There were some really good sibling moments as well, like when Tyrion is doing his "I want to die."
And he's like, with a girl's mouth wrapped around your cock. We've heard it a million times. All right.
Yeah. And then he wanders off. Then he wanders off to go see his new girlfriend, Brienne. So there was that moment, and then there was the if Tywin could only see us now. In Winterfell, protecting the Starks. Like, his dad is going to get, I don't know, vertigo or motion sickness from rolling over in his grave so hard.
Yes.
And so consistent, just a constant state of motion down in that grave, just rolling.
He says that to everyone up there. He's like, we all fought the Starks at one point or another, and look at us now.
And did they? But they did, right?
Davos was with Stannis. The Wildlings are Wildlings. Jaime, obviously. Brienne was with Renly, right? I mean,
yeah, she was the Kingsguard for Renly. There are a lot of really good similarities, connections between Brienne of Tarth, the Evenstar, and her ancestor
Dunk. Yes, I totally 100% when Brienne got knighted, the first thing that popped into my mind was, holy shit, Dunk got knighted by another knight, we assume.
No,
well, we assume.
So he was never knighted. He lies about it through all the books. So in the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms book, which is also on our little picture, if you guys see our little podcast picture, I put the book of the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms on there. I did.
He lies about about his hedge knight. Right.
Yep. So he's never knighted. I think Sir Arlen of Pennytree dies before he ever knights Dunk, and then Dunk just lies and says that he knighted him. And so we never really know who, if anyone, ever knighted Dunk, but in my own headcanon, it is King Aegon after Duncan probably asked to, when Aegon asks him to be his Kingsguard or something, has this, I imagine there's some sort of fallout where Dunk has
where Dunk is like, I can't be your Kingsguard, I'm not a knight. Yes. And then Egg's like, I'll knight you. Yep. I'll knight you, bro. Yes. I got you.
And that has the same sort of resonance for me as Jaime knighting Brienne would have. Not the same kind of thing, but the same caliber. And also, Dunk dies, or rather, Egg dies, while Dunk is his Lord Commander and a member of his Kingsguard, in the same way that, Renly dies when Brienne is his Kingsguard. There are so many similarities between these two characters. Anyway, I fucking love it. I love the I don't know, the call and response, the mirror images.
Yeah.
Oh, it gives me fucking life, dude. And them in front of that fireplace. And then there was something on the internet about how like Tyrion is your uncle, who, you know, oh, you can have a half cup.
Yeah, right.
And then he just,
pours the whole thing.
The wine cup. And they just drink it dry. It's so good. Oh, David, it's such a good thing. Top moment of the show for you.
Ooh. So that's a rough one, because couple things I really so I'll tell you my top like couple, and then I will narrow it down. So Jorah getting Heartsbane.
Yes.
Also, was Heartsbane was always a two-hander? Like that looked like a fucking two-handed sword, right? I think
Yes,
it's
it
always
was-
been a great sword, right? Yeah.
And I love that Sam was like, yeah, you can borrow this because I can't like hold.
I can't hold it upright,
right?
you
Like
know?
I can't like hold it upright.
Yep.
I'm super good. What was the other thing? It was like I'm the first one to ever kill a White Walker. I killed a bunch of Thens, and Dollar said is like a Then,
Then, yeah.
and then he's like, and I stole a ton of books from the library. And John's like, please stop talking about all of the overdue books at your library as a way of saying you're a badass. Like, just leave that off the list, my dude.
That was
You keep bringing it up in every conversation.
that was a good
Just
scene
let it
with
go,
the
let it
three
go.
Night's Watchmen reconvening, the three
Yeah.
friends. That was a good scene. The obviously the fire scene,
Yes.
all the men around the fireplace, or not men, but you know all the battle warriors
Mm-hmm.
are around the fireplace. I think the Arya Hound scene was really good
Yes.
because you know you've never fought for anyone in your whole life, and he's like, I fought for you, didn't I?
Yes. We had talked last episode about how during the exchange between the Hound and Arya, where they see each other for the first time, and he's like,
You're
you
a
know,
cold bitch.
Oh, so I get.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually smiles quite a bit in that scene. Like, there is definitely, I thought he was very cold and, you know, not emotive, but on a rewatch, I was like, oh, fuck, there's a lot of shit happening, and there is definitely like a sort of a nod and a smile there where he's like, yeah, you survived.
Yeah.
All right. And I found that quite satisfying, but I needed to do it on a rewatch, or I needed to get it on a rewatch.
So I think those are the couple ones that stand out to me 100%. And I think my favorite has got to be the advisors and warriors around the fireplace. I mean, the cinematography of it, and I'm not just talking about. I'm not talking scene. I'm talking just that whole from start to end, where it's just Jaime and Tyrion, and then Brienne walks in with Pod, and then Davos shows up, and then Tormund shows up. You know, just that whole sequence was by far my favorite. And like you said, Tormund fucking steals the show. I mean,
He just kills it. And, you know,
I killed the giant when I was 10. And then I crawled into his bed with his wife. And when she woke up, you know what she did? She suckled me at her breast for 3 months. Thought I was her own child. That's how I got so big. Giant's milk.
And then he drinks the
whole
whole fucking
horn.
which is a 3 foot long, 4 foot long monstrosity with all of it spilling into his beard. I'm going to read you a little thing here. It is from the book series. Yep. And no, do I not have it? Hold on. Never mind. Oh, here I do have it. Daisy Mormont looked up at the sky. So this is one of the things that talks about giants and bears, right? Like his story in the books is about how he skins a bear. Yeah, and then but she loved
bear
him or
fucker,
something,
right?
so yeah. She bears eye, said Lady Mage. We've needed to be. In olden days, the Iron Men would come raiding in their longboats or wildlings. What is Tormund?
He's a
again?
wildling. Oh, nice. Yeah, well played. Was that a Stump Dave question? I got it right.
From the frozen shore, the men would be off fishing like as not. The wives they left behind had to defend themselves and their children or else be carried off. There's a carving on our gate, said Daisy Mormont. a woman in a bearskin with a child in one arm suckling at her breast, and in the other she holds a battle axe. She's no proper lady, that one, but I always loved her. And they talk about being bears, lady bears on Bear Island, and how they were invaded by wildlings. And Tormund's story in the books is about how he's like drinking and he has nobody to drink with, and then he starts remembering this like she bear he knew, so he decides he's gonna go get that she bear, and then he ends up skinning her and staying with her all night, and then I saw her the next season and she had a couple of
whelps,
the strangest looking cubs, ha ha ha. And I was like, oh my god, are the fucking Mormonts half Tormund? Are they half giant Spain?
Why do you think Lady Mormont is so freaking beastly? I wish you good fortune, cousin.
Damn, Mage Mormont. I love that. So this kid, I'm not a big fan of Lady Mormont, the like 10-year-old that is the boss. I just don't understand the appeal. I think it's cool. I think I'm here for it. Like, I don't think it shouldn't be in the series, but I'm just like, why is it in the series?
Yeah, it doesn't. And
I think it
doesn't add that much value that she's a 10-year-old. I mean, it adds value that it just shows the Mormons are, bears. They're stubborn Northmen. Yeah.
And I think that the scene between her and Jorah, where she calls him cousin, and he's like, "You should go hide" or whatever, and she's like, "I'm not going to run away. I'm going to fight in this war." I think because of her age, I think that she would survive the upcoming battle, if only to become like an old Nan. Like, remember, think about what old Nan was in the beginning of the story. Imagine if, when old Nan was a child, this stuff was happening. And like she lives through the new long night. Like that's, I think, has value. So less than having a 10-year-old be slaughtered on screen. I think it makes more sense. So I think Lyanna Mormont's probably okay. I think Jorah definitely dies.
Yeah, I think Jorah's. I think a lot of them die. Honestly.
I mean, Dolorous Ed probably dies. Yeah. Does Sam has to live to the end because he's the one that writes
and
down,
then closes the book as like instead of a Sopranos ending where it just goes to black, like it zooms out and it's like Sam, like fucking gray beard in the Citadel, Grand Maester, whatever, like writing the book, and he just writes Finn, and then closes the book. And it's like Song of Ice and Fire. Co-author. It says like Song of Ice and Fire on the front, and just closes the book.
It'll be the Sam Tarly version and the Tyrion Lannister version, the competing versions. Maybe. And it'll be like Mushroom's testimony and Septa Unella's testimony, where they tell the same story, but from two totally different
perspectives. The more I think about it, the more I at first, when I first heard whoever wrote that theory, I was like, this is bullshit. But the more like I think about it,
it makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Like, think back to when he's in Old Town and he's talking to the Maester, and the Maester's like, what? I'm writing a history of blah, 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 blah. And Sam's like, and he's like, what? You don't like the title? And he's like, I would think it would be more poetic. Like, what's more poetic than a Song of Ice and Fire, right? I mean,
yes. I think definitely I think Sam survives because he has to be our narrator. I think Tyrion survives. I suspect in the books he won't survive with his tongue intact.
Yeah.
Because his father was fond of ripping out tongues, like with Ilian Payne, and also he's always talking about how he should have his tongue ripped out because it gets him in so much trouble. Like, that is foreshadowing, like, whoa. But he can still write, so I think those two are going to make it to the end. I think Bran dies this next episode, or is like I don't think Bran. Grey Worm or Missandei.
Well, they're definitely
not making it out of
fuck this. No, biggest like goodbye like you could ever write for a character is like, what do you want to do when the battle's over? Yeah. I want to go away to North and I'll protect you when you go. And it's just like, all right,
people are not peaceful and they will protect you.
You're both dead.
So good,
it's great.
Though,
I agree. It's great, but
like, what future is there for the Unsullied? But to go to Noth and be with this peaceful people and like do the thing that they were trained to do, but like do it in this like this is a perfect situation.
I thought about this a little bit because I did think, well, what could the Unsullied do? They could be Daenerys's like city guard or whatever, right? But you can't make more Unsullied. These are the last of the Unsullied. There will never, ever be any more Unsullied because she's basically outlawed slavery. She's not going to let people chop dicks off, right, to make warriors. And even if the Unsullied like wanted to procreate and make more of themselves somehow, right, they can't.
Well, but they could be teachers, right? Like they could still teach another generation, even if they can't.
They could teach. Yes, they could. They could teach war principles, but they can't teach the you will not fear anything, and I'll cut. You cut your nipple off and can't feel that type of shit. Like that's from torture. Like you can't teach that.
Yes, that stuff needs to die. It needs to die. And I think to have these guys, have that dream of a peaceful life after is, there are some flavors of The Gladiator. Have you seen the movie The Gladiator?
You mean with Russell Crowe?
Yeah, of course. And he says,
who has not seen the movie Gladiator? And it's not called Gladiator. It's just called Gladiator. Come on. All right. Hold on. Ready?
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thumb up, thumb down, thumb
I forgot
sideways,
people can't see me, so I'm like just looking at my screen, wiggling my thumb on camera. Thank you, Tana, for narrating what I was doing. I appreciate that.
I'm doing my best. Hey, all
must
men.
drink. Nice.
I think I might have made my my Giant's milk a little on the strong side. Tormund would approve.
My rum and Coke is more rum than Coke, so.
Ooh, all right. Let's see. So we covered Lyanna Mormont. Jorah definitely dies. Does Brienne die in this next episode, David?
Here's my theory on that.
She's at the front. You saw the next week. Like she's right in it, man.
I think I think this is how it's going to go, and I think I mentioned this last episode a little bit. I think Jaime's going to die. Okay. And then I think
in the battle, you think
here's
he's
what
dead
I think.
in
Here's
this
what
battle?
I think.
He's not going to get any catharsis with Cersei.
Well, oh yeah, maybe he does kill Cersei. Well, my thought is
I don't think his narrative arc is over yet.
Yeah, you make a valid point, and it tears my theory down to shreds. Even though I liked my theory.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But, so here's the thing, right? If Jaime dies, it sends Brienne into a rage. She goes fucking crazy, kills a ton of. She goes berserker, kills a ton of others or White Walkers or Whites or whatever. Yeah. But then she eventually falls, and that sends Tormund into a fucking rage, and he kills a whole bunch. It's just a rage. Blood orgy. Yeah.
And then there's no one left for the how many episodes are left? How many episodes are in this season?
There's 6 episodes in this season. 6? Yeah, 6 episodes.
Left. So there's 8 total?
No. There's 4 left.
There's
only 4 episodes left. Each one is approximately 80 minutes long.
Okay, how long is that in hours?
It's an hour and 20 minutes.
Imperial for me.
Minutes is imperial. What? It's an hour and 20. It's an hour and 20 minutes. Approximately.
Don't do metric, my dear.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so holy crap, there's only 4 left. Yeah, everyone could die.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't need anyone for the next few.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No way, man.
So it's possible, but I think you're right because I think the Valancourt has to come true. So in reality, I think Jaime and Brienne have to live because Brienne is the beauty, right, that comes to replace Cersei. And her little brother has to kill her, so Jaime has to kill her.
Now, but do we think that in the show the Valancourt is going to be Tyrion? Because he was talking an awful lot of smack about how he's going to come back as a white,
that's right,
and go down to King's Landing and kill Cersei.
Yeah, that was funny. No, I think they did the Valancourt in the show to throw everyone off the trail. Right? It's always been the little brother. It's always been.
Does this mean that Clegane Bowl is off?
Does
Sandor die?
No,
I was never a believer in Clegane Bowl, but it seems to be a very popular thing. Is that not on the table anymore? I think
they have to do it. And in last season, the Hound walks up to Sir Robert Strong and says,
yes.
You know who's coming for you. You've always known, or something like that. Clegane has to live. Because Clegane Bowl has to happen, so Clegane's gonna live.
Yeah.
I think Beric.
Sandor's
Berick's gonna die. He's gone.
Beric dies.
He's an ancillary character.
Beric Dollar said, Jon Snow obviously bites it in this next episode. It's going to be a shock to everyone, but he's definitely
You think he's dead? You think he's done?
No, of course
I
not.
mean-
He's the plot armor, sad Mary of the whole fucking story.
I don't know. What if Daenerys, like, after they kill the Night King, like, she sicks a dragon on him?
You think they're killing the Night King, my dude? They're
No,
not.
they're definitely not.
What about so probably the battle's going to go their way for a little bit,
Yep.
right? Like it's going to be tough, but they're going to have them on the ropes. Does the internet theory that the Golden Company has been marching up from the south this whole time? We didn't see them at all. This episode is very suspicious. Wasn't even a mention of them.
Yes, there was a mention of them at the beginning of the episode, but
Right.
okay.
A mention, but we don't see them.
Yep.
We don't
We don't
them
see anyone
doing
from the south.
anything.
We don't see Cersei. We don't see
Yep.
Qyburn. We don't see Bronn. But okay, yeah. Keep going.
Two internet theories I want to ask your opinion
Okay.
about. One, does the Golden Company, just as the battle is going in favor of the living, attack Winterfell from the
So
south?
like a battle of the
and
bastards. So like a
thereby-
battle of the bastards with the veil, just kind of like reverse. Okay.
I think of it in terms of like they almost have the Infinity Gauntlet off of Thanos' hand, but then Peter Quill decides to be a fucking piece of shit about it. And ruins everything for everyone.
Okay.
So, like,
you think the Golden?
in
You
this
think
analogy,
the Golden Company is like Peter Quill? Okay.
Yes, I think that he's the Star-Lord to maybe the entire humanity effort to survive as a species.
So what do you think about? So if that's what you're thinking,
So it could
yeah,
happen.
I mean, it could happen.
That might
but
be
so
the way that the battle goes.
do you
south.
really think that the Night King is stupid enough to attack Winterfell like two dragons on one? Like he's got to know that like in typical history, two dragons like typically comes out on top, especially when
So
you don't
you
have the
thinking-
biggest fucking dragon. Like you don't have a Balerion the Black Dread going up against like
Yeah.
two fucking
Or a
right, or a
Vhagar,
Vhagar
yeah.
going up against
They're
like
all-
two cats, right? You have
Yeah.
a
Yep.
pretty
And the
equal
biggest
sized
of the
dragon,
three is-
right? And the biggest of the three is Dany's.
They're all relatively equal, but Dany's is a little
Right.
bit bigger. That's a good point. Do you think that the Night King flies
So
down to
that's-
King's Landing and turns all of them into
Yeah,
zombies
so that's-
and has the zombie army come up?
So
from
that's
the
kind of
south?
what I was thinking was, we get this House of the Undying vision. The last thing that Dany sees in the House of the Undying is the throne room of the King's Landing. And it's like, there's a fucking giant hole in the ceiling and there's ash or snow piling down everywhere. It's dark and twisted. And so is basically the attack on Winterfell a diversion to keep the dragons there while he fucking goes down, maybe even ignites some fucking wildfire patches that are hidden underneath places and gets like thousands and thousands and thousands of more soldiers.
I think that that's a good guess because one way or another, all of King's Landing has to go up, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
it has to.
There is no Iron Throne at the end of the series. Like there's no way there is
That's the
one.
thing. Like Dany keeps saying, "Oh, it's the Iron Throne. I need to take the Iron Throne." The Iron Throne is a representation of validation and the fulfillment of what she believes her life's purpose is. Like it is the symbolic, the golden ring that she needs to have. And even in this episode, she talks about how she put aside that goal temporarily so that she could help Jon in his war. But there's always that golden ring, that Iron Throne.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
get.
it ends.
What happens when there is no fucking Iron Throne?
And it ends like you can tell she's still focused on this when she's fucking talking to Jon in the crypts, and he's like, "Look, babe. Like, turns out I'm your nephew. Like, hey, girl. Like, we kind of maybe got to stop boning, right?" That's what he's brooding about. And she doesn't even think about fucking, I don't think. She just, the first thing that comes out of her mouth is, that would make you the last Targaryen male heir.
Yes.
That means you have a claim to the Iron Throne. And she's fucking furious. And it's like,
Pause.
Jon Snow doesn't fucking want the
What?
Iron Throne.
Why doesn't he say that in that moment? Like he's been saying it like a fucking monkey for however long. I don't want to be the king. I never asked for this. I don't want to be the Lord Commander. Not me, not me. And then it's like, here's your moment. You've been practicing this line your entire life. I feel like I'm standing off stage and I'm like pointing at the cue card and like waving my hands and being like, say the thing. Now's the time. Like you say the thing.
And
Say
then
the
the three blasts of the horn go and it's the wild and it's the others.
Oh man. Do you remember the Fist of the First Men scene in the books where we first hear the three blasts and Chet wets himself?
Everyone's like, okay.
Yes.
Wildlings, all right, all right.
It's Rangers returning.
Wildlings, and others.
Wildlings,
right? And then all of a sudden
others.
the third one goes, and then, oh, fuck.
Yeah, and like they were like, how many hundreds, thousands of years since three blasts have been heard? And like immediately Chet wets himself and Sam's like, thanks for waking me up, bro. Oh, anyway. Yep. What else? What else happened in this episode, my friend? What else is worthy of our discussion in the greatest episode of all time?
Do we revisit the Gendraria?
No, you know what we do? We have to talk about Jenny of Oldstones.
Oh, Jenny of Oldstones.
We have to we have to talk about Jenny's song.
Lauren asked me a question. Is this a song that Rhaegar wrote?
No, so
because
this is not a
Rhaegar
song
wrote a song about Lyanna like hiding in a tree or some shit like that, right? Like
that's the maiden,
the Maiden Fair.
The maiden.
No, that's the Bear.
No,
the Bear.
it's not the Bear. The Maiden Fair. It's the Maiden with the Yellow Leaves. He writes the Lyanna song, but they're different, and you know, and I wish that I remembered those lyrics, but I don't. Hey, what's up, all men?
All men must drink.
Must
drink. Chug, 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 chug. Oh, sorry.
Definitely not chugging. Jenny of Oldstones, the song is about a dark-haired Targaryen prince. Is he dark-haired? Anyway, Duncan the Tall had a namesake. So Egg and Duncan Egg.
Duncan Egg.
Egg grows up to be King Aegon.
The unlikely.
And he has a firstborn son that he names Duncan the Small in memory, like as a namesake to Sir Duncan, who is the relative of Brienne of Tarth. So there's so many overlaps in this episode. And Duncan is betrothed to a Baratheon heir. So he's going to join, Aegon is going to join his house to the Baratheon house, and it's going to be great. But little Duncan, meets Jenny of Oldstones, this common girl who is lovely, and he falls in love with her, and she has dark hair, and she has this woods witch that we meet in the stories. That's the dwarf of High Heart. And Jenny of Oldstones, that they call Lady Jenny, she falls in love with Duncan, and he puts aside his crown. He says, I would rather not have any kingdoms.
And marry her.
I'm so sorry about, and marry this woman that I love. And
Egg lets her?
The dwarf of... Yeah. Yes, and reluctantly, because Egg himself had married for love. All of his children kind of buck his royal rule and marry for love, although the two younger ones married each other. It doesn't matter at this point. But Jenny of Oldstones goes to court, and this little dwarf woman comes with her and has this foretelling that the prince that was promised would be born of this line. And so all of this stuff is sort of like folding back in.
Would be born of the Duncan Jenny line?
No, of the Ares and Rhaella, the Ares and his sister wife line, which was the child after Dunk's kid. So Dunk's kids have Mad King Ares.
So John is of the line, is what you're saying.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So Jenny is the common girl who falls in love with Sir Duncan's namesake, the royal little boy, and they fall in love, and we never get the song in real life, but the dwarf of High Heart only ever wants a kiss from the Brotherhood without banners. Remember, Lemon Cloak is always like, she's like, give me a kiss. and she tells Tom of Seven Strings, sing me my song. And he's like, how about a good, like, he starts playing like a pop tune, and she's like, no, I only want Jenny of Oldstones. Play me my Jenny song.
Play me my jam, woman.
Yeah, and in the books we only ever had one lyric of this song, and usually you know how songs are in A Song of Ice and Fire, they are so meaningful. Like
Yes,
all
they are.
Bale the
Yep.
Bard and Life is Not a Song and The Mother's Mercy, all of this stuff is so powerful. And in the books George ever wrote one lyric to the Jenny of Oldstone song, but they wrote more lyrics to it for this show, and they based it on the themes and things in the show. Oh, and it was so powerful. And did you hear the Florence and the Machine
Yes, I did.
version?
It
that
plays at the
during
credits, yeah.
Oh, it's so good,
Yep.
Dave. Oh, it's so good.
Never
Dance with your
wanted
ghosts.
to
Just dance.
leave.
Oh, it's just so sweet and sad and beautiful. And we see
Which
the
line?
divide
Which line
from
did George
Sanjay.
write? What's?
The opening one, I think. I think. I don't. Am I an authority on
Yes,
this?
Tana. Yes,
think
Tana. You are, of course, the authority. Let's consult your book, please.
Yes, let me see if I can actually
Whip
find
out.
out. I
mean,
able
we
to
are
find out.
only sitting in front of things called computers that we must know the answer to. Jenny of Old Stones, George book. George book. That's what I googled.
God.
That's
George
a George
book. I have
book.
Jenny of
That's what I got.
Oldstones.
Did
Yep.
it work?
The Prince of Dragonflies, which also ties into the Duncan Egg novellas, because Dunk is thinking dragons or dragonflies. Does he go with the fourth king or the fourth son of a fourth son, or does he stay a hedge knight? But the Prince of Dragonflies loved Jenny of Oldstone so much that he cast aside a crown, and Westeros paid the price in corpses. All three of the sons of the fifth Aegon had wed for love in defiance of their father's wishes. Oh, Jenny. My Jenny.
My Jenny. My
Yep.
Jenny.
What else? What was so do you have any predictions for the future, specifically for the next episode, that you're either hoping to see or that you really, really do not want to see? Like, what would be devastating for you? Dany dies. Like, that's the one for me. Like, if Dany dies, it's a sharp left turn. She can't die next episode. I don't think Jon dies.
Yeah, I don't think they die next episode. What would piss me off? What if Arya dies? Arya dies, I'll be furious.
Oh. Yeah, Arya. She just
I
want to
see her fucking fight with that weapon. And I want to see what the fuck, if it separates or not. Like, what's the deal with that thing? Like,
she's going to be doing some what is it? What is the Star Wars thing?
Darth Maul? Yeah,
shit.
Darth
She's
Maul
gonna be
duel.
doing
Yeah,
some Darth Maul
absolutely.
shit,
Agreed.
without a doubt.
I want to see that. I think what would piss me off is that if next episode it's 80 minutes and there's no fucking battle, right? If they're just like 80 minutes of like Cersei and Qyburn like talking to the Golden Company and Euron, like I'd be fucking pissed. I'd be like, this is fucking shit.
Definitely not going
right?
to happen. I mean, they open with the battle. Like, you know that it's going to be mostly just battle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do the dead come out of the crypts in Winterfell? True or false?
Oh.
How are you even hesitating here?
Look,
the answer is obviously
the
yes.
answer I think is yes, but part of me is like, I mean, Jon has a dream, right, where he's in the crypts and the fucking kings of winter are coming up and rising out of the stone. Like, that is legitimately in the books. Like, he has a fucking fever dream about going to the crypts and the fucking...
And he can't go deep. He's afraid of what's waiting for him deep down.
Yes.
Remember, the oldest kings are buried the furthest down. Is Jon going to find the fucking last hero? Like, are we going to have Brandon the Builder rise up?
And if
also,
he rises up, is he fighting
corpses?
for the Night King, or is he fighting for the living?
Exactly.
Like, we know Benjen Stark, quote unquote, cold hands, somehow withstood the Night's King. And by the way, in the show they claim the Children of the Forest helped him, like, right? But I have a small theory. It's not based in any science or realistic.
Tell me what
I
it is.
think the Starks made a fucking pact with the Children of the Forest.
Yep.
Right? There must
lay it on
always
me.
be a Stark in Winterfell. And I think part of their bloodline is magical, and I think they can't come back as White Walkers. I think they cannot be.
maybe.
I think they cannot be turned into whites.
Okay, well, time out. Wasn't the original Night's King
Potentially.
Stark
and
of Winterfell?
I think that was maybe like the pact that was made, right? Because we learn in the show that the children of men made the others to fight the men, right? And so I think the pact was like, I will become this magical being for you as long as you spare my house and my family, right? And so then I'm making this up as I go, right? And then there must always be a Stark in Winterfell.
Yeah, I hope that we will get a resolution to the Stark at Winterfell stuff. I
don't think we are.
get that, because I think that's not
no,
from the show,
definitely not from the
but
show.
I think in the books there's going to be, I think in the books we're going to get a lot more satisfaction. But this definitely scratches that sort of like, give me something, kind of like, give me this fan fiction, right? Like, I don't find.
Yeah, they already gave us boat sex, so they got to give us some more. Like.
What was Tyrion's whole thing in the boat sex? Like, was it jealousy? Is that ever sussed out?
It's never sussed out at this point. I don't.
Was it just like suspicion, or does he feel left out?
I mean, what? I think honestly, I think it was just him being sad because, like he has this conversation with Jaime in this episode where Jaime's like, I can't fuck my sister anymore, blah blah blah, but you could whoremonger still, right? That's not stopping. And then and Tyrion's like, well, I trying to. He says like, I can't really, and I'm trying to better myself. But I think it's because he really loved Shay. I think he feels terrible about killing her. Partially. And I think that's the reason why when he sees Daenerys fucking Jon, he's like, I wish I had my lady around, So that's how I think I play it off.
All right. Well, is there anything else, David?
I mean, fuck. I just want to go suck a giant's titty. I mean, like, oh, and I'm not saying like a giant titty, right? There's a difference between like a giant titty and a giant's teat, So.
Oh my god. Here's the Giants.
Definitely. The Giants.
Good lord.
All men. Must drink. There we go. Oh, don't hit your iPad. That's not good.
Hold on, I got a thing. It was too cushioned.
There you go. Much better.
That's a little hollow. Let's try this one. All men.
Must drink. Nice. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Tana and I are no longer sitting right next to each other, unfortunately. I had to go up and move. So now we have to make Cheers sound effects.
I know. There's a song he remembered, Jenny of Old Stones, with the flowers in her hair. She says, we're all just songs in the end if we're lucky. Oh,
we're all
Dave,
just
so
songs
good.
In the end.
And I hope that Theon gets to be a song in the end. I hope that he gets to have his redemption moment and just be like...
He burns their house.
Do something.
And then he got his dick chopped off. And then he saved the cripple.
Just so good. I hope that... I don't know. Redemption. I think it'll be surprising if Grey Worm doesn't die. But I think if he doesn't die, Missandei dies, because they don't end up together.
They're done. They did the one cardinal sin you don't do: make plans after a fucking battle. I mean, come on.
And I like that Bran was like, "You assume there will be an after." Oh, that was savage. There are some really good one-liners. We have a collapsible bridge. We have pockets of like spice
and all this
stuff.
dragon glass, like masonry into the towers and stuff.
Yes. And like and sort of like in all of the sort of armaments, there was also mounds. There were a bunch of mounds if you look at the like battle map, and I wonder if they like buried not caltrops, but like some sort of like wildfire would be something like you want to ring Winterfell in a perimeter of fucking fire is what you want to do.
You got two dragons.
Final thought. Yeah. Like, don't save your dragons to the last bit, right? Like, when Tyrion was talking to Fagon in the books, he says, don't keep your dragon don't protect your dragon, put him out at first. And Jon is saying, I want to keep our dragons close. No, motherfucker, you need to use your nuclear bombs, and you need to use it right now. You have 2-1. You need to burn as many of these fuckers, like zigzag that fucking line, because they can't attack you from the sky. If you take the offensive and you burn through their fucking lines, then the Night King, who's probably down at King's Landing or around, can only come at you with one fucking dragon, and you can flank him. So just fucking zigzag your way up the undead army, burning them where they are and saving the living, right? Because everyone in Winterfell is going to be overwhelmed by those zombie fucking numbers. So you need to be zigzagging with your dragons. Don't make that mistake, Jon Snow. Dany, don't listen to him.
Don't pull the fucking Rick on. Fucking zigzag around. No. Don't run in a straight line. Like, come on now. You got to have learned something from that mistake, you know.
Till next
week, Tana. All men.
All men.
Must drink.
Must drink.
Dink. Dink, dink, dink. Press.